I now want to go into a bit more of a serious topic. And it does link to SmackDown, right? Because last night, there was a package for Lacey Evans' return next week on SmackDown. And in case you guys haven't seen what's going on with Lacey Evans this week, she basically reposted on her Instagram story a clip basically saying that autism didn't exist 100 years ago. And the reason it exists now is because of all processed foods and all that. And let's just quickly ignore the fact that Lacey Evans has done campaigns, promoting processed foods in the past. And let's just focus on it here for a second, right? That comment is just an absolute joke off the bat, right? People know that I'm personally autistic. It's ridiculously offensive. All the awareness, the stuff, we try and do for it. And then, a celebrity with the reach that Lacey Evans has puts up, repost something like that. And it's like, just how dumb do you have to be brutally honest with you? Like, do any research and you can see, the reason. Well, firstly, it did exist, 100 years ago. It was just less, it just wasn't a diagnosis. And secondly, there was another word for it, which is now the R slur. And that was, what was used for it. And it was, really harmful. A lot of people, it was, a tough time for a lot of people. And now there's more awareness about stuff. There's more help you can get. And that's, it's a great thing. And then you just have absolute idiots like Lacey Evans going on to, Instagram and reposting these conspiracy theory BS. And what really frustrated me about this, right? Mandy Rose got fired a couple of days before this for showing a nipple on OnlyFans or whatever, or her platform, whatever it is, right? And it's like, okay, that upsets the sponsors. You gave her the option and she was like, no, I want to carry on doing this. You're like, okay, bye. How on earth is that upsetting the sponsors when somebody's spreading fake news and on their story? How isn't that upsetting the sponsors then, right? And I'm not saying this to try and, get Lacey Evans cancelled here. It's very simple. All she needs to do is, come out, say she was, wrong or whatever and move on. But the fact that WWE are pretending that this didn't happen and are continuing with the storyline is really pissing me off, if I'm being completely honest. It was a beyond dumb comment, especially considering she's advertised processed foods before. She's just a complete. I lost all respect for Lacey Evans. And maybe you can say, oh, she was trying to be a heel. It's not. She was not trying to be a heel. She meant what she posted, and it's once again now. It's like the vaccine thing about that there was a study years ago that linked autism to vaccines, and it was just a complete. It was the most ridiculous study ever done because it was like 10 people who were chosen. And they were like, are you vaccinated? Yes. And then they chose them. It was just, and the guy lost his career got ended because he put out the survey. But the harm that did for a decade plus, people didn't get their kids, a lot of people didn't get their kids vaccinated because of it. And now Lacey Evans is, trying to spread some more, propaganda about all this. It's to do with, processed foods causing it. It's just, it really, really does frustrate me. And I know, Clark, we spoke about this yesterday as well, and how frustrating it is. Did you have any thoughts that you want to add?
I agree with everything you say there. I was baffled when I saw the first one, and then the subsequent follow-ups. To not, it's one thing to be misinformed. It's one thing I've said the wrong thing in the wrong place to the wrong right. I have misspoken. I've myself, as many have, but to then double and triple down. That to me is where I started to become really disappointed. And then to see the advertisement on SmackDown this week, it blew me away in the sense that I just, it's almost like it's a room full of adults acting like children is all I can think of. Like somebody be the big kid and explain that not only can words be harmful, but those ones are still harmful. And not only that, it's the part that is most frustrating to me is that now she's getting pushed. And it's like in Mandy Rose too, I'm blown away at how that could possibly be a grounds for you are gone and not this. That makes no sense to me. None.
It's ridiculous. As I said a minute ago, like I'm not calling Kurt for Lacey Evans to be fired. I'm
not at all.
But all she needs to do is she just needs to say, I was wrong, blah, blah, blah. If she doesn't say I was wrong, then fire her. Because if I'm being completely honest, that's worse than what Mandy Rose just did. If I was a investor, or sponsor with WWE right now, I'd be furious. Like, how on earth are you pushing somebody? You're spreading, this propaganda online, completely false, which is causing harm. How are you doing that?
I
But
mean,
you know
there's
what? Maybe I'll buy some stock in WWE just to complain to WWE
just to
about
complain.
it. Maybe that's the way. Maybe that's the only way to go about it at this point, because
Well,
it was an absolute joke.
That's like, I think it's almost comparable to like Kyrie Irving in the NBA recently, what he had said, his anti-Semitic tweets, and the league and the team both punished him. Where is the WWE on this one with Lacey there? Right now, he didn't get cut, he got suspended, but something,
Yeah,
right?
I know
and
exactly. He got
make
sent on a
something.
Yeah, he got sent on a what was it? He got sent on?
Like basically sensitivity training, I believe, as well as like he missed like 6 games, and it was any multiple statements. His initial ones weren't great like hers. That's, I think, why the ball rolled even further. But and they're obviously 2 different subjects, both bad, but like the situation is similar in that they said something you definitely not just shouldn't but wouldn't. If you were really thinking about it, you just wouldn't say that. Like,
it was just so stupid. Like, it didn't exist 100 years ago. No, it did exist 100 years ago. Just do research. Like, the diagnosis didn't exist 100 years ago. Well, guess what? Smartphones, weren't like made 100 years ago. Like, it's just because we're now more, we're more informed doesn't mean that didn't exist back then, right? Smartphone analogy was awful. I just tried to use, but you get
still,
the point, the
I
technology,
know where you're going.
And people, we understand more, right? It's not
like,
it's
like 100 years ago, people just died and we couldn't explain it. Sometimes, right, from illnesses. Exactly. Like 100 years ago too, like we didn't know things about cancer, like you know what I mean, we didn't know things about
other like anything,
right? It's like, okay, and that one was one of the, that one to me, I was just like, are you serious? That is like,
no, it frustrated me so. It's so
I was like, can you hear yourself talk right now? Like, are you hearing what you're saying? Like, someone needs to just put it on a recording for her and be like, this is what you sound like. Just like, to me it's baffling, especially given the the Mandy Rose situation too of late. To me, it's baffling that she would be not only held on to, but that's just glossed over. It's just nonsensical.
It really is. Like, honestly, I know I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, but if sponsors have an issue with Mandy Rose on a platform which isn't related to WWE's, which you have to pay for to see, showing a nipple, but then don't have an issue with Lacey Evans on a platform which is, anybody can see for free, sharing something like that, it's just completely, it's so frustrating.
So just to clear the air, I guess the reporter information is that Mandy Rose was, if you want to say premature, you can. I mean, this is based on Fightful. A sponsor never was mentioned or said to have gotten mad gotten.
That was why that they have the issue. They have the issue because
they have the issue because they have an issue because a sponsor could bring it up to them.
That's the point.
And theoretically, that is smart.
This is my.
But then you got to be consistent.
This is my point.
If a sponsor's not going to, if a sponsor's not going to get angry about Lacey Evans, they're not. At the end of the day, they might not.
But they didn't they didn't angry about Mandy either. And WWE, well, as far as we know, and it would have gotten out.
As far as we know,
it would have gotten out.
As far as she knows, she did something against her contract.
Yeah, no. So what happened was WWE were concerned that. Well, no. What happened was WWE were concerned. Firstly, whatever. There's not a clause in there which says they can't do, they can't specifically do something. But what it does say in their contracts is that they can't do something which goes against the morals of the company. And that's the clause, which is the exact same clause which both Mandy and Lacey have broken.
Well, I mean, I'd point to Drake Words. They got real
quick. That's the question. Did Lacey? Because I don't think
she did. Absolutely, she went against the morals.
She posted an opinion and she deleted it.
No. She doubled down.
She doubled down, Kobe,
before she then deleted it. Right?
No.
No. She could have released a statement about it, and she didn't.
Could be.
Right?
No matter the
Okay, but that's the thing. It doesn't matter. She saw something and she believes it.
no matter
At
the
the end of the day, you can do that about anything.
Well,
At the end of the day, she didn't do
why
the
Kyrie
research.
Irving
I'm
get
not
suspended then?
Yeah, you can't.
Why'd Kyrie Irving get
if
suspended? No, you can't.
It's false information. Like, it's not like, oh, okay, it's an opinion. It's false information. There's difference between being like,
opinion
oh, I disagree with you.
Okay, so then
well,
no, she saw a documentary about something that has whatever.
which was full of false information.
Oh,
just like Kyrie Irving did. Just like Kyrie Irving
she
saw a
shared something
documentary
which said
and posted
autism didn't exist 100 years ago, which is false. Right? She shared false information, which it was just completely false.
Oh,
and then
she plugged the documentary that had even more false information in it that she didn't say.
Exactly. And let's just bring it back to the sponsor thing, right? No sponsor had an issue with the Mandy Rose thing, but the thing WWE worried about was a sponsor could have an issue with it and, could harm the company. They then said to her, you can't do this or, you're gone. And she said, well, no, I'm making more money from it. I'm not going to stop. And they were like, okay, well, you got to go then. Right? She was apparently given warning or whatever.
She was. She chose the exclusive content.
Yes, over WWE. Yeah, that is what happened. But the thing is, if WWE are feeling that could offend somebody, showing a nipple behind a paywall, which is a steep paywall, by the way, because you have to pay £30 and you have to pay like another like £100 or something on top of it to see that, right? If they have an issue with that, but don't have an issue with Lacey Evans spreading fake news on her Instagram, which is free for everybody to see, which, by the way, an account
no age limit
no age limit, and WWE tag her account in posts as well, right? That it's linked to WWE way more than Mandy Rose's account was, right? It's just, I cannot understand for the life of me how on earth anybody can say, in the right mind, that what Mandy Rose did deserved to be fired more than, deserved to get a warning or whatever, right? More than than Lacey.
It's unfathomable. So look at like Val Venus.
What if they gave her the same clause of you delete your statements, blah blah blah, or else you're cut?
That's what I think they should. Well, no, I think she should just give a statement out because she already caused the whole harm.
How about a genuine apology?
Out saying, I'm sorry, whatever. It was misinformation, blah blah blah. Cool. That's what I said at the start of this conversation. I don't believe that she should get automatically cancelled or whatever for this. No, I don't think so at all. I think that, she can easily come back or whatever. But they can't just sweep this under the rug and pretend that it didn't happen, because it happened and it caused damage. And then they're going to continue to push her. They're still, advertising her return for next week. That's what really, really infuriates me.
That one to me too. It's like, it almost seems like she's getting rewarded, like because she was in the news so much with the engagement. And then all of a sudden, this is the week that they decide to put her back out there. It's like, it doesn't seem right at all. And from a moral standpoint, like, Mandy Rose wasn't out there trying to hurt anybody. Not that Lacey was trying to hurt people, but look, like leaked photos. Yes, you could, loss of innocence, children. You don't want anybody seeing naked pictures. I get it. But you want to talk about from a moral standpoint, going after, neurodivergencies. And that to me is like, how could you be so like, oh, just is like it makes my skin crawl. Like, what? That's the group you're going to really try to talk about and say, not only that, on like a controversial documentary. Like, if you go look at the documentary, if you go look at the reviews explicitly state how controversial what she watched was.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to find. The information's all out there. It is.
It's truly, truly infuriating. And I don't, lose my temper very much, but on this subject, it really does piss me off because just be consistent with it, right? You can't release Mandy Rose for breaking, one clause and then do so, and then be worried that sponsors will get annoyed and then give her a warning. And then, then she said no, and then all that, right? But you can't give Mandy Rose a warning because you think the sponsors might be upset, and then not give Lacey Evans the same warning. You just can't do it, right? It really, really did frustrate me seeing that this week. And I mean, I'm going to be honest here. If we go back, right, if you look on the people know about the Matt Morgan situation, I'm not sure if you want to go and watch the Soul Sessions I was on last year, I explained that in detail. But on the post Matt Morgan did last year, saying he was apologizing or whatever for basically telling, you're basically saying that, a kid who attempted suicide needed to man up or whatever. If he did an apology on that, and Lacey Evans commented on the post saying he didn't need to apologize. Are we surprised, Stu, really, about all this news?
It's not new, that kind of behavior. Yeah.
It's not new. And I mean, you only need to look to 2016 as well and see that she dressed her daughter up for Halloween in blackface. So
yeah,
it's really Lacey Evans now. I think WWE need to. I don't think it's even a risk worth taking unless, you know, she properly apologizes, whatever. I think they're just sweeping so much under the rug with her at this point that, you know, you can't even stand on the rug anymore.
Yeah.
There's so much shit under there. But seemingly they're
it's
continuing.
A bumpy rug.
Yeah,
it's a bumpy rug.
You know, you don't want to be standing on it, that's for sure. But I don't know why they keep protecting her. I don't really think she's a huge asset to the company anyway. Not to sound like Ignacio here, but it's true. I don't think she is. You know, I don't think she really draws that well for them. I don't think she's, you know, a top, you know, entertainment value when she's on TV. I think they have much better, you know, people in the company than her. But I mean, to be fair, what she does do is she very easily pisses people off. So, you know, she's a good heel in that way. But when you're spreading, you know, fake stuff and just being, you know, it's frustrating.